I just want to pass along a quick tip on putting ends on a high pressure line, like for a transmission cooler, or if you're anything that's going with fuel in it, even if it's carbureted, going from a hard line to a rubber line. About the worst thing you can do is put a rubber line over just a straight steel line and put a clamp on it. Sometimes you'll get away with it, sometimes you won't. Sometimes you'll catch your truck on fire whenever it comes apart and starts leaking fuel everywhere, or transmission fluid is spraying all over everything, and transmission fluid has a fairly low flash point and can end up being dangerous too. So what I like to do is, with a flaring tool, like this is my Eastwood one, but I've also got just a plain Jane style like this, a double flaring tool that uses the button, and this works on either one. All I do is basically the first stage of the flare, and I don't do it quite all the way, but it leaves a real nice bead around it, or kind of like a barb. It's not quite as sharp as a barb, but it gives that hose clamp something to bite onto so that it can't come off. So what I do is set it up. I usually leave a little more protruding than what it's supposed to. This thing is supposed to, you're supposed to use the flat die and push the end of the tube, supposed to be square with the edge of the die, and I've got it sticking out, I don't know, 80 thousandths or something like that. And I do the same thing on this style. Usually you're supposed to make your line stick out the equivalent thickness of your disc. Well, I just let it stick out a little bit farther, you know, another not very much, not quite as much on these probably as I do with the Eastwood thing, but just a hair longer than you're probably supposed to. It leaves a little bit of a flat spot after the barb to kind of transition to. But so what I do is take it, and I got that on the wrong operation. 3/8. All right. And normally you're supposed to just go till that stops, but I'm gonna go about 2/3 of the way probably. And then let's take it off of here and look. I'm gonna go just a little bit more. It's got a nice flare, but let's go ahead and go a little more. That felt like about all the way, so I may lie to you about not going quite the full depth on it. Yeah, that looks pretty good. But see what you got now, you got a little straight, and then you got your ridge, and then you've got a straight again. And I used to double flare them, but it seems that it makes it really hard to get the line on there, because it's got such, or the hose on there, because it's got such a square edge, and then it tends to cut into the hose over time. And sometimes the hose will split on the outside of the barb, and then it also makes it harder to get the hose back off. So this is what I like to do. And then for clamps, especially on the higher pressure stuff like fuel injection or transmission coolers, I like to use these. They're completely smooth on the inside of the clamp, and they just seem to be a little easier on the hose. Regular hose clamps do work, but they tend to cause problems sooner than these do in kind of a high stress situation. But like I said, on anything, fuel or transmission, you need to have some kind of a swell on the line to give your hose clamp, you know, put it back here behind the barb, and then it's got something where it's not coming off. Whereas if that's just smooth line, it's 50-50 on whether it's going to hold or not. So like I said, you can do the same thing with this other style. Just when you put your button in there, just don't quite go all the way down. You might check it and see where you're at. You may end up having to go all the way down, but just do your first stage. Don't go in there and double flare it. And like I said, you'll end up with a pretty nice looking end on there that I feel like works pretty good. So hope this helps you out.